Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Konaja here. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Moving on through our campaign once again, we will resume. Where did we leave off? Right, we had just begun production of the truffle. It is January 1st, 1950, and the truffle is to be our first mass-produced car. Mass-produced in the sense that I'm hoping to sell maybe 100,000 of them, versus the Vauxhall, which was a small convertible. It's only selling in the ranges of the 10,000s. Let's see how the economy and stuff is doing. Normal, looks like even as of now. Commercial, even, but not very strong. Yeah, there's not too much to look at just yet. The market's very stable, virtually no movers or shakers right now. Now, all of this, I believe, will get much more topsy-turvy as we move through the 50s, as markets start to come online, if you will, and some others will go away. Plus, the economy is unlikely to stay as stable as it is right now for very long. It will either sharply go up or sharply go down within the next 5 years, I would say. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And for now, I would say I just need to do some adjustments on the Vauxhall first. Make sure it's in line with the current market conditions. Looks like it is marginally overpriced at the moment, and from what I've heard in some feedback, it's likely that I am shooting too high right now as far as my overall markup on cars. So I'm going to go ahead and back off on the base markup of both of these. And let's see, let's just reduce the split. Well, I'm gonna need to come down on the price of the base model as well. Let's get these more in line with each other. There we go. And now we can probably balance them out. Okay, so there we go. We have a 1.0 demand on both of those. I should probably actually go ahead and drop that another percent overall, just because I have a feeling the demand on this car is going to continue to decline, as now it has been in production for quite some time. But we're still making a decent little bit of profit off of the cars, so it still makes sense to try and sell as many as we can per month. Let's look at the truffle. It might need some adjustment now that we're into production. We're about to start production. Yes, very much so. So these two were very different vehicles. One's for people, one's for, a utility van kind of purpose. And I had the markup significantly higher on utility because it was looking like, when we designed it, that that was going to be an extremely good seller. As it has turned out, and time has gone on, the people mover version has kind of picked up in popularity. So this markup is completely unrealistic and never going to happen. Now they would sell more evenly. Demand is probably still a bit too high, and I don't think I can produce many more. No, not many more at all. But I would like to make as much profit on them as possible, so that's where we'll do the adjustments here. Let's keep it just above 1. Just above 1 on both of those. And I'll give it half a year and see what happens. There we go. Now we're halfway through the year. And it looks like we need to produce or charge more for the truffles. These guys, we're still producing a lot of cars here. We're short on engines. However, I'm not worried about that because we don't need to produce any more cars. So it's not as though we're sitting around waiting for engines. So let's not spend money on making more engines. But I may reduce the amount of Vauxhalls we're making overall, just because there's not enough demand for it at the moment. So, yeah, let's just reduce how many we're making, try and keep our profit the same, but just spend less money making cars. Old Truffle, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have demand. You have good demand. We could just potentially make more of them. We could not potentially make more of them. We could charge more for them, though. It could be that this utility is just now coming down, too. So, let's see. Yeah, we have no stock on anything. Let's play it out the rest of the year and see what happens. End of the year, I am hoping we're going to see ourselves a profit. Maybe a little one, not much of one. $98 million, that's not too shabby. We're gaining reputation at a steady rate and losing just a little bit of prestige because we're not making a very prestigious vehicle right now. It would make sense in what we've learned through playing the Automation Lite campaign that we should be developing a new vehicle. However, I'm going to hold out until 1955 because I know that's when a lot of chassis become available, and I just don't have any car that I particularly want to build for 1951. I don't think a sedan is needed for us right now, and I don't think any other markets are good for us. I'm going to hope that the Truffle and the Vauxhall can carry us through most of the early 1950s here. Once again, very high demand on these guys, so let's make sure that we're making all that we possibly can off of them. And let's just go ahead and go through another year here. Okay, end of the year, and a new profit number here of 125 million. So I don't think we're going to get back to the 2 billion we started with before we start designing our next vehicle, but we should have more than enough wiggle room to design something and be pretty pricey with it. Again, the reputation increasing and prestige lowering, very small amounts. 53,000 cars sold. We're already up to 80,000 on the Truffle. And let's see, we could potentially be making some more Vauxhalls here. We did run out of base models. Or sorry, ran out of super cheap ones. So that one is the one that's currently doing better. And there's plenty of wiggle room to make more of these. And it looks like we could use a little bit more of a split towards this guy. Actually, they're pretty well matched right now. Perhaps just charge a bit more for them. And I'm, again, not really worried about running out of these cars because they're such a low volume car anyway. I don't want to be sitting around on a bunch of them come the end of its production cycle. And as for the Truffle, which is just fun to say, isn't it? It is very well matched. Everything looks pretty good here. It seemed like we were running low on peoples and high on utilities, but the numbers look pretty good. Yeah. Keep that as it is for now. End of 1953, another $100 million. Sales are starting to peter off there. 51,000 this year, though. We did make it into the 100,000s on the Truffle already. And the Vauxhall has made it into 51,000. Not too shabby there. And overall, not too many adjustments needed. Looks like we're overproducing the People version of the Truffle just a little bit. In fact, demand for the People version has subsided significantly. So it looks like some market shifts have happened, and that car is not as desirable as it once was. And January 1st, 1954, another $100 million. And let's see, we just tipped the balance on these. It's been riding right on the edge of having stock or not having stock for the Truffle. So minor adjustments. What I haven't done recently is really looked at the economy. Budget's a little bit on the incline, which means things are probably, yeah, they're on a bit of a flat right now. Premiums on the flat, luxuries coming down a little bit. So no major moves there. And honestly, no major moves here either. Everything is pretty much flat. We're getting awareness. We have lots of awareness in convertible sport budget and convertible. Lots of awareness in family utility premium. Not very much in heavy delivery. I was thinking we were selling a lot more there, but it looks like we're not. We're selling real well in the convertible categories and decent over there. Not really, blowing the doors off the dealership here, but we're not doing too terrible either. So I'm not disappointed. We got another year before I'm going to start designing the next car. Let's see if we can make it a good year and maybe even get close to that 2 billion that we started with. All right, so 1954 is in the books. 50,000 cars sold, only 83 million in profit this year. Our cars are starting to lose their appeal a little bit. They're still their initial appeal. They're still selling well, and we're still making profit off of them. Let's see. Let's actually pause here. We have made an overall profit on the truffle of 9.4 million. Not a not a huge profit, but it's a profit. And a 1.1 on the voxel. But for cars that were made solely for the purpose of getting our company started to make a profit at all, I am pretty proud of. We have $1.886 billion at our disposal here in 1955. Let's go ahead and start looking at maybe making our new vehicle. Premiums on the decline. Normal's flat, budget's increasing, commercial's kind of flat. These are so, everything here is so flat that it's not really telling me a lot. I don't know what's about to happen. Market-wise, well, City has just come online, like those have just come to existence, so they're very high. The premium categories are suffering at the moment, and the budget ones are doing well at the moment, which means that the economy is suffering overall. However, we're designing the vehicle for years ahead, probably 2 or 3 years ahead. So, I don't know, if I think about how the Gesmeyer region overall acts over time, then I think probably the middle of the road ones are going to start to come online here pretty soon. Like maybe regular convertible and regular pony car, maybe? Muscle car. The utility cars, those are so hit or miss. I think the van is still working for us in that regard. So I don't know if making a sedan is the right move right now because it's going to overlap that car so much. So yeah, let's take a look here. Last 10 years, we have... This is the new body, right? There's 2 of them. There's a little one. No, that might be a new one too, actually. Yeah, I do think that is new. Not exactly what I'm looking for, though. That's an old one. That's old. This is new. That's new. It's small. Oh, and that's like an elongated version of that. Yeah, I was thinking something like a GT Premium, which would pretty much be a muscle car for the 50s. And we'd probably not be producing it till, what, 58, 59? That's... If Gesmeyer holds true to Americana, then that should be about the time to start producing a muscle car, so... I think I might try it. This body has a convertible variant. Sometimes those work, sometimes they don't. If it does, that's good for us, because we've already sold convertibles, and we already have some awareness. Awareness? Not awareness, awareness in that market. New things abound. We have monocoque chassis available to us. Difference between the two, not really known as of now. I like the idea of monocoque chassis way more than ladder ones, so I'm going to go for it. Ooh, we have struts for the front available. Let's see, less engineering time, so let's do that. In the rear, coil, yeah, that single axle coil is the cheapest way to go, and we have familiarity with it. It's not very muscle car, though. Sportiness is low. The semi-trailing arm is kind of average at everything, but not terrible in engineering, so let's try that one out. No, this will be a mass-produced car, so we're not going to go for either of those. We'll go for steel. It just occurred to me I didn't even try to morph this body any, and I think I would like to do that. So let's go ahead and do some changes to it. I think I've used this body in previous builds in automation. It's a tough one to make terribly unique. I'm not too worried about the uniqueness factor. I'm more worried about doing well in the campaign. Somewhere in here are some headlights that I think will work quite nice. Those aren't bad. They fit that weird little, weird little concave shape in the front pretty well. Thought I had gotten a different one in here somewhere. something that was very 50s. Maybe I didn't download it though, because I don't see it. Oh hell, that's just sickeningly happy looking. Can't have any of that. Alright, somewhere in here there's gotta be a grill that's simple, but a little bit frowny looking. Because happy looking is not... Oh, that's... it's still pretty happy looking. Oh, that's even happier looking. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's plenty of cooling for it. It's still a little happy looking, but it's not over the top. Can we get away with some taillights in the fin area somehow? It would be nice. It would be nice if we could do that. They're a little small, but I like the look. Can we make them taller, more ovular? Ovular. That's not a word, Cone. Okay. Got a little bit more to the outside. That's close enough. Not bad, not bad. Clean, simple. It's effective. I think that would work quite nicely. It's half European, half muscle car looking. So we'll see what that does for us. Oh, I didn't name this thing yet. What am I going to name it? Alright, so this series, again, not tied to Vector or any kind of, fictional timeline kind of deal. So I'm just going to continue the trend of naming the cars off of people from the comments. And a fan of Ankle decided that, or he asked when I was going to make our first muscle car. And I'm doing it now, so this is... the Ankle. So this will be the Ankle Coupe. And it will be rear-wheel drive. I quite like it in this bright red. It works nice with this body. It got an engine. Alright, for an engine, inline 3, definitely the way to go. No, not really. Inline 6 is a possibility, and many early muscle cars, before they were really even known as muscle cars, had straight 6s in them, or slant 6s. But I think we need to go full-blown muscle car here. Not with a V12, but with a V8. And see how much displacement we could make it. Early muscle car engines were much smaller than the era that everybody knows. Everybody knows, the big block era and early 350s and things like that. But before all those cars existed, V8s were much smaller displacement. Maybe in the 250 cubic inch kind of territory. So we'll see how big we can make it. 4.2 liters is the default for this engine, and I'm going to leave it there and see, play around with it a little bit and see what we can do. We could do aluminum heads, but we're going to take a huge hit in reliability to do so. I'm going to keep with the direct acting overhead cam. Alright, so while I'm here, just a short discussion about this and the differences between them all. Pushrod is obviously, just as we all know, it's an underhead cam, basically. The cam is in the block. Direct acting overhead cam is essentially a single overhead cam, but instead of using any kind of rocker setup to have more valves per cylinder, it acts directly on the valves. So a bucket just straight into a valve. That is very similar to how dual overhead cam works. And that is kind of the modern setup. However, you can do 2 or 4 valve setups on that. So what's the difference between direct acting overhead cam, that's really hard for me to say for some reason, and overhead cam? Well, in overhead cam, you have rockers that move the valves themselves. There's no buckets involved, and the advantage there is you could run 3 valves per cylinder, you could run 4 valves per cylinder, but you're doing all of that with one cam. It's a much more complicated setup, tons more variability, and is overall more modern than a direct acting overhead cam. Direct acting overhead cam though has advantages. It's low friction. It reduces valve float. There's a lot of the same advantages that the dual overhead cam setup or single overhead cam setups have. It's just very simple and in turn very restricted option wise. 2 valves per cylinder, all you're ever gonna have. Okay, moving on. Got that cleared up. We're gonna chrome it up here. We're blinging. Carburetor, let's do Two barrels should be good. Probably not necessary. Regular leaded, certainly. Super leaded, not for a little while. Probably not until we see that there's a huge influx in premium buyers, because otherwise they're not going to be super interested in this. It's still going to have valve float issues. It's probably going to have torque issues. We may have to make it smaller in the end. I would say aiming for 260 horsepower would be a good number. Reverse flow and none. How are we looking? A lot of yellow, but no red. That's a pretty good first build. 214 horsepower, 245 foot-pounds. Those are pretty good numbers, and these are RPM limit. So, yeah, we're going to... Let's take this down to about 4 liters, I would say. Oh, wow, it's basically right at 4 liters that things get very okay. Reliability is 36. I would honestly like a little bit better than that. Valve float is occurring. So, okay, so the head's still just a little bit too big. So we may have to end up running this thing at maybe 3.9 liters. What's that in cubic inches? I have no idea. Wow, that actually didn't increase the reliability one little bit. This thing can handle more compression, 7.8 to 1. We're starting to get into torque issues now. We're still at 36 reliability. That seems to be pretty much where it's pegged at. So that may just be kind of the restriction of what we've built here. And there you go. You can see what I'm talking about. The cam is directly acting on the valves. No rockers involved, and there's only 2 valves per cylinder. So very similar to a pushrod, but with a lot less friction. Alright, so we'll say that's okay for now for the engine. We may need to return to it. 200 horsepower isn't bad for what could potentially be a pretty light car. Do we really need to name the engine? Maybe just for familiarity's sake of knowing what engine is what. Boy, as of now, with a 3-speed transmission in there, a top speed of 144, that would be rather quick. I hope we can put enough tire in this thing to keep it, safe. Somewhat. So we'll do sports compounds, 514s. How big? Oh man, that's going to be a tough restriction there. Only a 640 on the wheel diameter. 165 is the biggest tire. That's a bummer. So that's going to be our handling restriction for sure. That's a bummer. We'll see what we can do. The brakes are going to be tough too. We got the new drum brakes, so we have more braking power. They're still not great. On the interior, 2+2 might be better, but I'm really aiming for this to be in the muscle category, so we'll do a 2-seater, and maybe a sport interior, standard radio, probably not power steering, that seems unnecessary. We can look at it later, see if that's worth it. Standard safety. Let's go ahead and let's do a base of normal. And then, actually that's probably what it already was. It's got a lot of understeer in it. It's currently being scored in Pony and Pony budget, which is scaring me because those numbers don't look very good. It's very desirable, but too expensive. So it needs more ride height. We can do more front camber. We can do more rear camber now that we have trailing arms in the back. We can do more rear camber to keep it more stable. And let's see. We want the drivability to be pretty good, even though it is a muscle car. Those premium buyers don't want a car that'll kill them. Seems to be some kind of sticking point to them for some reason. Yeah, pretty quick car. I mean, for 1955 standards, 8.7 to 60 isn't too slow, and 138 mile an hour top speed. If we could get this car out by like 58, I think it's still gonna be good enough for a muscle car. Scores 85, 87 in muscle right now. Well, what other categories? Like I said, it's very good in Pony, however, too expensive for Pony. So it may be more in line with, let's do muscle, and sport is good, fun premium's good, family sports actually scoring pretty well also. Let's do that one. Let's just We'll just select those two and see if we can improve upon them. Apparently I chose a category that does not exist. What did I choose? Oh, I chose city. Yeah, that's not a category. Unchoose. Oh, I chose muscle premium. That's what I chose. I have no idea anymore. Okay, so family, sport, and muscle. Drivability 16%. That's the highest. Safety 18%. The second highest, and yet they do want practicality, which doesn't really have. Cornering, somewhat important. Acceleration, reliability, safety, I already said that. Comfort, that is one mixed clash right there. Muscle, on the other hand, sportiness is the highest. Quarter mile has a 10%. Capacity, engine capacity has 10%. Our engine capacity isn't gigantic by any standards. It's a real shame that we can't put bigger tires on this thing. That would help a lot. 2 seats versus 4 seats. Certainly seems like 2 seats is the way to go. Sport versus standard. Oh no, sport, very important there. They really like the sport. Okay. Power steering. They like the power steering quite a bit, actually. Advanced safety? Very good in scoring. Hurts it in price. It's nice that it doesn't hurt the affordability too much, so let's actually go ahead and do that. The engineering time is going to be the stickler with that one now. That's very high versus average. Is it worth it? Honestly, at this point, probably not. It's probably not worth it. And then in the handling department, trying to make this thing handle better without hurting its drivability, not a very easy thing to do. So that's pretty much the box we're painted into with this. All right, so let's say 10% markup, 20% markup. All right, still pretty good in the green there. Price-wise, it's a little bit hurting, but I think it's in enough categories that we could make it work, and we'll just have to hope that the economy comes around for us. Otherwise, we're gonna be screwed, as always. So let's also do a convertible. Okay, so the convertible is worse in every single way, but they generally are. How is it in markets? You see, this is up market from the first car, very much so up market, but it's scoring really well in convertible sport and pretty well in convertible 2 and pretty well in convertible premium. Let's look at some of those categories. Oh, well, you have to select them first. Get rid of pony, get rid of sport budget. Let's look at these two and see if there's anything that these guys would rather have. Because these guys have different things. See, they want more comfort there. Here, this is pretty similar to muscle, really. So, is there anything I could do for more comfort, like progressive springs? No, not really. How about in the interior? Makes it too expensive. Sport is probably the best mix. Premium radio? Fantastic for scores. Hurts its value. Hurts the value quite a bit. 90 versus 93. 92 on that one. Well, that at least gets you over the 100 mark. Advanced safety. I see, it's really making me think that I should do advanced safety for both of them. I just have to really fund the chassis engineering. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Okay, I just had a game error that I'm hoping was nothing. I really hope it was nothing. Let's see here. 3 years, 2 months for the chassis. I have 75 funding on it currently. Oh god. Yep, game's freaking out, guys. Game's freaking out. Please, game, please. Just let me get somewhere where I can save. Oh, sad panda. Lost my whole car build. Oh, drats. Well, guess I'm gonna redo that whole thing again and hope it doesn't freak out this time. Well, that's a bummer. Alright, completely rebuilt from the very start. Hopefully everything goes fine this time. If not, I have done the thing that you know should always be doing in games that are in development. I saved. So let's see what happens. Okay, so far it's already looking better. There's no crazy errors happening, so let's see. Where were we? It's actually a little different this time. Maybe the game was telling me in a very not so kind way, hey guy, you should probably work on these cars a little bit more. I don't know. But let's see here. 3 years, 3 months. We could fund this development more and perhaps get it out sooner. A little bit more reliability would be nice, but yeah, we'll leave it at 50 because 3 years is already about as much as I would like to do. Oh, the engine, only 2 years, 5 months. Okay, well, we could save money on the engine development and bring that down to like 2 years and 10 months and have better reliability. Okay, there we go. Actually, probably even better because I'm for hire. Yeah, okay, even better. Cool. Alright, so the engine's going to be super reliable. And yeah, there's nothing really engineering heavy on this one. It's the safety, I think, that really puts it over the edge. Yeah, 6.1 on safety, 9.4 on chassis, because it's a monocoque chassis. Okay, alright. Well, continuing on, we are going to probably have to buy ourselves another set of factories here. Let's do this one on a large plot, medium plot. I just saw the price there and was like, never mind. Medium plot, and the engine also on a medium plot. There we go. Still plenty of room for expansion. We'll do a medium 2. Medium 3 would be 243 cars a day. I don't ever see it selling that many. Let's do medium 2. And then medium 2 for this guy. It's about 90 cars a day, it looks like. It could go upwards of, 140 need be. So let's just do that. Let's do the 90 for now. We'll match that. And let's see here. With a 20% markup, this is the convertible. We have a score above 100 in convertible sport and nearly 100 on affordability. So that's really, really good. And not only that, but it's green in a lot of places. Convertible premium is very good scores as well. Convertible, very good score. Sport, pretty good. It actually scores real well in Pony and Family Sport Premium. So yeah, it's got a lot of options. Now the coupe, not as outstanding, but it has a lot of green as well. So it could sell in many places, I think. Now these are two different style of markets. There's a lot more coupe buyers out there than there are vert buyers. So we're going to have to split this production pretty heavily. And it looks like, as of now, we could probably mark up the coupe some more. But that may change. That may change as time goes on and as we get closer to producing this car. But if we're selling, as it says right now, like 5, almost 6,000 per month at a 40 and 20% markup, that ain't too shabby. Yeah, that ain't too shabby at all. If we could break even by 1961, that would mean that this car could actually make a pretty decent profit and maybe even pay for the land that we bought to produce it on. That would be something. But if nothing else, it will get us to 1960, and 1960 is where we should be able to make some real high-performance pony muscle cars, sedans, really start to expand our horizons. That is the goal. So production is going to start in February of 1958 and profit by about 3.5 years later. That would be pretty good. We'll have to hope that the economy plays nice with us, and if it actually improves, we could do even better than this. Well, we can only hope. All right, I think I'm going to sign off on it. There we go. The Inkle will be in engineering at the next milestone. I don't know how long I've been recording at this point. Looks like I've been recording for an hour and 15 minutes, but I lost a lot of progress there in redoing the car. But we skipped ahead quite a bit at the beginning, so I think that's where I'm going to call it today. Next time, we will see how the Truffle and Voxel do, and then we'll maybe get to the point where we start engineering the Inkle, and we'll have to figure out where we go from there. But as always, thanks for watching, thanks for your support of this series, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in Automation.